All right, Priscilla, back to 1999 to the first ever branch that was at Adams. Can you tell us what the set was like at Adams back then?
Well, it was 1999 and I was quite young. But no, really, I heard the stories. It was a couple of guys who could not find a decent cup of coffee. And that's just where it started. Thereafter, they wanted to look for a burger. So it was as simple as that, as somebody just wanting a good cup of coffee and a burger. And 25 years later, here we are, again, serving coffee and burgers.
Do you know why they picked Adams as the location for their first branch?
I think it was more so where everybody lived. Remember, this was very self-serving. You know, when they started, it was about them. And it was important that it was close to them. And Adams has really been always, even now, especially because of Ngong Road, it was always a main artery.
So my name is Khider Farouk Adam. I'm one from the Adam family. We're actually a landlord for Java. Actually, this was the first Java. So I'm representing the landlords.
And Adams was where Java's first outlet was actually opened. Can you walk us through 1999 and what the mall was like at that time and what happened when Java came through?
Okay, so I was a very young man at that time, but what I do remember is a very interesting story about when Java first came in. I believe that Java wanted to try and export Kenyan coffee to the US. So they took this place mainly to roast their coffee, and they were giving, if I remember correctly, a cup of coffee at 40 shillings, and then you could have a refillable cup. But the interesting story was, back in those days I was in university, and when I used to come back for holidays, I would see all these missionaries, because there's a lot of missionaries around in the Kilimani area, and many of them are Americans, and they would come all the way from, down the road, walking just because of the smell of the Java coffee. And that's how we remember Java, just the coffee smell. And just if I can take you back in the 90s, coffee was not a big thing in Kenya. It was still a very Mzungu thing. I got introduced to coffee back in those days. So yeah, those are the first memories I have of Java here.
From Java House coffee to Java House, they dropped the coffee. Why? And the different names that Java has had over the years. What was the reason for the many iterations for those names?
So you go back to Java Coffee. So remember, it was all about coffee.
Right.
And then the evolution of the brand and the restaurant and what the consumer wanted became now a fully fledged restaurant. So it became Java House. Actually, it was Nairobi Java House. And then once we started moving out of Nairobi, it was no longer about Nairobi, it was just about Java.
Now that we've gone from a coffee house to a house that offers burgers, like you said, which was the preference of the owners at the time and the founders, how did they decide what was going to go onto the menu? Or was it just burgers and coffee?
The beauty of being a founder is that you get to choose what you like. And that's where it started. But there's a lot of pride there because Java single-handedly began the coffee drinking culture in this market. So coffee wasn't so much just for export. It was now something that we enjoyed. So you can think of all the families and children who grew up in coffee farms and never drank it. And now it was readily accessible. So, in terms of what went into the menu, it was what they liked.
Okay, my name goes by Mutie. I'm actually the head of Coffee Excellence in Java. So that's what I do. Basically, I do innovation for the coffee drinks and beverages, and I train baristas. That's what I do.
Nice. How long have you been doing that job?
I should say 24 and almost 25 years now. Yeah, that's what the beginning is.
Yeah. So you've been here since the beginning?
I was here since the day second of Java operating.
Second day of Java operating?
Yes.
Okay, it's good, because I want us to go back to 1999 now, when operation started. What did Java look like then? What was the feel? What was the energy? What was going on?
I should say energy was good. Of course, nobody knew the directions. So I think we were doing what's supposed to be done, but we didn't know that we'll be where we are now.
If you look back at Java back in 1999 and Java today, what's the difference between the Java then versus the Java now?
One was the coffee culture. The coffee culture was not there. People did not believe in taking coffee. Like when we got into Adams, most of the people, like you give them a house coffee, they could tell you, I need a lot of milk. So definitely you could see people taking coffee, almost like flavored milk coffee, not like the coffee. And now people are really appreciating the coffee. The fact that people can actually walk into a restaurant and buy an espresso. The other thing is people now appreciating more Kenyan coffee and actually taking a lot of coffee with other products. Things like mandazis and scones now. And you can have a cup of coffee with a plain croissant or with a scone or with with a chicken pie. Yeah. Meaning people have really changed from how used to look about like having breakfast to actually taking a breakfast to a higher level, whereby you can actually say, let me have a coffee meeting as opposed to be a beer meeting in the evening. Yes.
How much did a cup of coffee cost in Java in 1999?
1999, let me get this exact. I think latte was going for 70.
70 bob.
70 bob. Tea was going for 50 bob, 40 bob. House coffee was going for 50 bob. And the most expensive drink was mocha. Sing was going for 70 and dab was going for 140 shillings.
Things have changed since 1999.
Yes.
Right. And when you made your very first cup of coffee in Java, walk me through the process of making that cup of coffee. What did you have to do? What went into it? What considerations did you make?
Yeah, so there was no recipe to be followed, so to say. And of course, my background is a mixologist, a barman. So I go through an espresso machine and then I'm told to make a latte. So what comes to my mind is, what the hell is a latte? So of course I was shown exactly how to do it. But I want to tell you the first thing that I did was steaming milk. Like to get that further, it was next to impossible. And then I could remember my trainer told me, I didn't ask you to make a milk with the flour form, I asked you to make a fine froth. And I'm thinking, what are we talking about here? But with the practice, things kept on changing and we got to where we are now.